across to breaking news coming in. A heated exchange that has erupted between the spokesperson of the Dalai Lama and the Chinese embassy in New Delhi. This is over the issue of reincarnation of Dalai Lama, where the dispute began after Dalai Lama's office clarified its position on reincarnation of the next living Buddha, asserting their authority on the matter. In response, China has claimed the right to appoint the next Dalai Lama, further intensifying this controversy. To break down the details, we have Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor, who joins us over the phone line. Very good morning to you, Abhishek. First up, detail for our viewers what this spar is all about and why is China at the receiving end, and this may have repercussions on them for making this claim in the first place.
Well, the reason why this has come out, Suesha, or the spat has happened is that the Secretary of the Bureau of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama in New Delhi, Dhundup Gyalpo, he wrote a piece in one of the newspapers, essentially an opinion piece, in which he spoke about the reincarnation of the next Dalai Lama. And that occasioned the Chinese embassy spokesperson in India. She's Yu Jing, and she has arrived just about a week or 10 days back. And she picked up on it and said that we have noticed some comments on Xinjiang, as the Chinese call Tibet, and then went on to say that this is an internal affair of China and that we are fully aware of the processes of reincarnation of the living Buddha, and China has to be an integral part of that decision making. And that's when Dhundup Gyalpo has hit back, saying that the Chinese government, which sort of appointed one Panchen Lama, that Panchen Lama, so effectively two Panchen Lamas, and that Panchen Lama does not have the kind of respect that the Tibetan community gives to the Dalai Lama or to the Panchen Lama elected by the community themselves. And so he's asking the Chinese government to not make these kind of claims. Also remember, the Chinese state is a communist state and hence an atheist state. Wanting to be integral part of a decision-making process of something which is absolutely religious is something which has been indicated to by Mr. Dhundup Gyalpo. Essentially, what we are seeing is that in the light of some developments that have taken place over the last few years around the succession of the Dalai Lama, which is called reincarnation of the living Buddha, as per the Tibetan traditions or the traditions of Tibetan Buddhism, the Chinese have been preparing a ground so that the next Dalai Lama happens to be one of their choice. And the Tibetan community is spread around the world. Of course, in Tibet also, they don't see kindly to these kind of assertions being made by the Chinese state. And as and when some comments are made, it ends up having a polarizing debate. And so it is happening in New Delhi because obviously Dalai Lama lives in India, in Dharamshala. As of now, I believe he is recuperating and is still to be back after having a surgery done in the United States last month, after which he was seen to be doing fantastically well health-wise. And so the Secretary of His Holiness's office has essentially put the record straight about essentially calling the bluff of the Chinese claims that they have a right of having a say in the, or not just a say, but a right in the process of selecting the next reincarnation of the living Buddha or the successor to the Dalai Lama, the 14th Dalai Lama in the present. I think this is essentially, we are seeing the Chinese state exerting itself on the issue, which they think is an internal matter, but the Tibetan community obviously does not.
I get your point, Abhishek, but do tell us how you see this escalating in the days to come, and if yes, to what level can it escalate? You have explained to us China's motive behind exercising a right like this, but in that sense, what is it for them to gain with such claims?
Well, the manner in which the Chinese state functions, Suesha, they would want to dominate the narrative, they would want to dictate the narrative, and hence whenever there is a comment made anywhere in the world, the Chinese state really jumps on its feet. And so, for example, in this case, Dhundup Gyalpo had written an opinion piece in one of the dailies in New Delhi, and that occasioned the strong Chinese response. And remember, as I mentioned, the new Chinese embassy spokesperson has just arrived a week or 10 days back, and still she is prepared with a very standard Chinese trope when it comes to Tibet and the relationship of the Dalai Lama with Tibet and the Chinese role in it. Of course, Dundup Gyalpo has given a historical background as to how, contrary to the claims made by the Chinese state now that even the selection of the present Dalai Lama, the 14th Dalai Lama, the Chinese had some say. They're sort of calling the bluff of this Chinese narrative by saying that no, the Chinese, even back in 1939, 1940, when the Dalai Lama was taken as a reincarnation of the Buddha, the Chinese state did not have a role, and they were seen to be lying at that time, which has been subsequently confirmed by many other actors, including the then British regent and representatives of the rest of the world who were part of the ceremonies when the Dalai Lama was accepted as reincarnation of the living Buddha back in 1939. So I think this is going to go on. Whether this is going to escalate, I don't think so. It's going to escalate. As I mentioned, the Chinese want to dominate every narrative,
Right.
all narrative insofar as the succession of the Dalai Lama is concerned. And so this spat essentially originating with that opinion piece being written by Dundup Gyalpo will try and connect and see whether he would be willing to come out and speak with a little more clarity for the benefit of the country and the rest of the world as to what the Chinese position is and what the Tibetan position is. But as of now, it remains there, essentially a spat breaking out between the spokesperson of the Chinese embassy in New Delhi and the office of the Dalai Lama and the secretary Dundup Gyalpo.